Hey everyone, John Davenport here from Photogarabbly.com with another Let's Edit video. This week we're actually going to be working in Photoshop CC. You can see I'm in Lightroom right now, and that's just because I wanted to show you the photo that we're working on, or actually part of it. So I'm going to be doing kind of a texture overlay tutorial today, and I wanted to show you where I got the texture I'm using. So it's actually shot in camera and then processed in Lightroom. It was basically shot at ISO 100, 50mm, f16, and a 2-second exposure. And during that exposure, I simply moved the camera from left to right, so everything was kind of blurred. So we'll hop into Photoshop, and you can see here we have the photo I'm working on, which is one you all should be familiar with. I've used it in the past on Let's Edit and other tutorials as well, but I thought it would work well to show you how to add a texture layer to a photograph to add a different dimension. So you could simply, add your texture and then do something like an opacity drop, and then you get this weird looking little thing here. But that's not really adding a texture. You could also do something like changing your opacity to an overlay, which adds a little bit more flavor to it, but it's not allowing you to have as much customization as Photoshop really allows. So what I'm going to show you today is kind of how to add some different things here to the whole thing. So I'm going to duplicate this layer here, and you can see if as I duplicate it, I'm going to duplicate it two times, and then I get this really crazy looking thing. And then I'm going to add a layer mask to each of these layers. And then what I'm going to do is kind of work with each one separately. So let's select the bottom one here. And for this layer, I'm just going to kind of go through with my paintbrush tool here. I have a pretty decent sized brush. Let's actually make that a little bit bigger, maybe like 500 or so pixels, something like that. That should work. And I have my black selected, which is going to allow me to kind of erase this layer. I'm also going to have my opacity set maybe 50% here. So what I'm going to do is just come in and see how this looks. So I'm kind of erasing along this line. I don't really like the opacity. It's not quite where I need it to be, so let's just remove that. Let's drop this down, maybe 25%. How's this look? So that's a little bit more subtle. So I still want to retain some of that texture and some of that color in the foreground, but this whole layer is basically just to kind of bring those colors back to that foreground. And I'm doing this fairly quickly because it is such a low opacity. It does allow you to blend it quite nicely. Now, the second layer, we'll move this one up. Actually, let's move this to the top. The second layer, what I'm going to do is actually remove this entire bottom half. So let's increase our opacity here to 100%, and now we have just that subtleness going on. Something like this, right? But we obviously need to address this situation going on here. So what I'm going to do is hit my X key, which will swap my foreground with my background, and then I will bring my opacity down, maybe like 50, 45%, something like that. And I need to make sure I have my mask selected. If you don't, you paint over your photo. And what I'm going to do now is just kind of blend this whole thing back in by kind of painting over just this area here. And that way I'll get kind of a nice blend to this whole area here. So you can see it actually switched back, but I kind of like the way that this is going. So let's keep this up here. Something like this. So that's looking pretty good. Let's bring this one up above. And now we have our last layer, which is currently on the bottom. if we bring it to the top, you can see the only thing that's really changing is along the water line. But what we want to do with this layer is actually work with the colors. So let's go to our image adjustments and let's add a, actually, I'm sorry, layer. Let's add a new adjustment layer. We're going to add the color balance layer. So just call that okay. And let's see here. So I'm going to add some cyan to this, maybe add some blue. Maybe add a little bit of magenta here. So this is the midtones. We can also add another one, and let's just duplicate this layer here. And, let's open this layer up. Let's affect our shadow layer now. Add some reds to those shadows. Add some yellow. Add some green. No, actually, you know what? Let's go with something more fiery. Something like this. But for this layer, so we can hit OK. For this layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove kind of this whole thing here. So let's grab our wrong tool here. Let's grab our selection tool and just see how this works. So we've basically selected everything that we don't want. So let's see if we can just fill it in with black. Yeah. So pretty good, right? So it's come quite a ways. You know, the original photograph, if I just remove everything here that we've done. This is the original photograph. And now, you know, you could say just adding a basic layer, fine, did something interesting. But what we did here is we added a whole bunch of different adjustments to the photograph. And I think it looks pretty cool. It's definitely over the top. It's definitely a different effect. You're not going to get this straight out of camera. This is doing something else. This is being artistic and trying to do a different thing. So anyway, let me know what you think about this. Did you learn anything from this particular video? Do you want to see more Photoshop stuff? Let me know, because I know I focus mainly on Lightroom, so this is kind of new to me as well. So please let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you for watching. As always, if you did like this video, please click the like button below. Not only does it help YouTube know that you liked the video, but it helps me know, so that's always helpful as well. And if this is your first visit to Phogoropathy on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. As always, I will see you again soon. Bye for now.